Will versus that human will. Let's good, y'all. Come on, we got another review, or at least another suggestion. And you know what I'm all about, that self-growth, that self-empowerment. You know what I believe, everything is a tool. And I want to thank you for watching, because you aren't a tool unless you're using yourself for what you need to do. So, okay, excuse that little outburst. But I want to talk to y'all about, like, MS Paint Adventures. I remember watching this. My cousin had put me onto this when we were younger. And I remember it was taken over for what was called Homestuck. While Homestuck might seem like a bunch of bullshit, no cap, when you reading it at first, because it goes in a little bit slow, the story is so well written, it makes you feel like this person that supposedly wrote it, because I remember we were reading it as it was coming out. Well, I had stopped, so I'm actually going back through it, because I had realized it keeps popping up in my mind. Spirit is telling me, like, you need to review this, because there's aspects of it that I had already connected. There's so much esoteric information in this one comic. It's like this couldn't have just been produced. Like, when it was coming out and the way it was affecting the populace and the amount of information that everyone was taking in, it was everybody. For one, it covers astral projection. It covers how this universe is actually one big old game that you're inserted into. It covers, like, if you've heard anything about how you have your soul family that you pretty much come down here with, and y'all go through your lifetimes, and it's like the way it's set up is so intricately. It also plays with time. It goes through Cthulhu mythos, which I think I forgot what those tales are called, but like somebody had boiled that stuff down to just be the Necronomicon. It covers that information. It covers ascending from your current self to your God self. Come on, like, it covers so much esoteric information. It covers billiards, which is pool, and actually looking at cards, like basic cards you use to play, like spades and stuff. It covers the esoteric information and the I would say the gist of what each of those represents into physical characters. That also continues through in the story. It covers world creation. It covers how it also covers the astral plane. It covers multiverses. It covers what else is, like, just off the top of my mind. Low key, it covers sound information, colors. It also covers one of the most important things, is just like another part of Mastery of the 12, which is literally, it covers the zodiac. And each character has, to me, it almost feels like it represents more of the negative connotations of the characteristics of the zodiac signs. As spoiler, so I'm not going to tell you, because you can look into that. It's actually really cool. But this series covers so much esoteric information that it'll blow your mind. So if you're actually really interested in spirituality, and you just want to take a step into something that doesn't feel so serious and is a little more nonsensical, but overall, as a whole story, the story is extremely holistic, go check out mspaint.com. It's now owned by Viz. I remember it was created originally by Hussey. I don't know who helped him with that. Like, I know he had help with the art. I know he had help with the music. I know he had a lot of help that came together to produce the magnificence of this story. I don't know who helped him. I know I can definitely tell he's very interested in esoteric knowledge, occult knowledge. Occult just means that it is hidden. Like, you have to actually look into information. It's information that could be, like, pretty much in plain sight. Unless you know what you're looking at, you don't know what you're looking at. It's just kind of there. You feel me? Like, it'd be like the equivalence of flicking somebody off, flipping the bird for the first time. But, like, what if that person didn't know what that meant? So it's just like, they lifted their middle finger up at me. Then what does that even mean? It's a symbol. A lot of people know what the symbol means. This represents space. That's all. It's pretty much telling somebody to disappear. This is in the finger. This finger, because each of your fingers represents it represents like an element. This is space. Ether is like telling somebody to literally disappear, like fuck off. But it's like, unless you know that information, you looked into that stuff, it's just like, what is it? You feel me? I know originally there's some stuff in there in history. It's like, oh, it's from the king to be able to fuck. It's like you've been giving the go ahead to have sex with this person, but it goes so much further than that. You feel me? So if you're really curious about occult knowledge, if you're really interested in spirituality, and you're okay with a lot of tomfoolery, go look up mspaint.com. I'm gonna need you to go check out the Homestuck series, but also look at the Detective Sleuth series that's in there, because they interconnect a little bit. Because the Detective Sleuths also covers a bit of the Midnight Crew. They're the ones representing the cards and the dark aspects, and then I think there's a bit of the felt in there, which also just terminology. It's crazy. They represent like the billiards, the numbers, and all that and such, for like more of the light side, and they're crews that are constantly beefing. But check that out as well. It's shorter. Homestuck's a lot longer. If you are also on YouTube right now, you can actually go type in "Let's Read Homestuck," and you can just listen to it. For me personally, it was so dope. Like there's a difference between, like, even though I love like the analogy for like Netflix versus TV, even though I love having the ability to just look through and watch it. I watched the whole thing. Like, yes, it premiered, the season premiered. It premieres everything. You can just go through it. You can do that on YouTube without like any of your internal voice. Let's read Homestuck. It'll read it to you. They got voices for each of the characters. They put some of the music, like the soundtrack, into it, so that way you can be more enthused. But if you're more creative, like you're reading a book and you want to just look into it, and read it like the comic that it is, it's also interactive. So there's parts where you actually get to play the game, because it's set up like a game. Do that. Go for the full experience. But what I was saying before is like the aspect of Netflix versus like TV, where you don't get every episode at once. The getting to uncover the story as it's being produced, oh my god, it's addictive. It made it so much more fun. But there's some of the wait times, because I can tell why, with how much information and how well put together the story is, like overall, there's me rewatching it from the beginning. I'm like, wow, he was giving you spoilers, leading you up. He was foreshadowing things that happens like much later on in the series. Visually, there's things on the side in the screen and stuff that I didn't notice. Like there was other characters that were there that aren't mentioned because it's not what he's drawing your attention to, but it's there low key. So then in your psyche, you can be surprised, but at the same time, you really can't, because your mind already knew. You just consciously didn't know yet. It feels so good. So, I know you're not going to be able to have that chance to experience something as it's dropping, which is also kind of good, because, you know, just like Avatar: The Last Airbender, how this stuff keeps getting postponed and gets pushed further back and further back. You're like, when is this going to come? It's like waiting for a new Boondock season to come, and that fourth trash one that we're not going to talk because Aaron McGruder wasn't there, so love. But it's what it is. But go definitely check it out. So that way it's like things that you get curious about, type it into Google. We live in the information age. Type it into YouTube. If you're like, ooh, okay, maybe there's a 101 on that. Maybe there's some basic information I can pick up. Maybe there's a book I can find. You know, check out Amazon. Like maybe there's some recommendations. You feel me? So you interested in the occult? You interested in video games? You interested in just goofiness? Just like, it's really goofy. If you're a little more serious, it might not be your favorite thing. If you're not really too much into like fantasy, it might not be your favorite thing. But there's a lot of information in there. So if you're looking at it from another aspect, because you're going to use this as a tool to understand certain concepts when it comes to the occult knowledge of the astrology and how they present themselves and how they work with one another. The astral world, understanding that there's this you, but then there's that version of you that really there's your internal part. The way he does it is a little bit different, but it's definitely, it's all there. There's that aspect of you on the other side, in the other world, that wakes up, like when you're sleeping. There's that you when you sleep. That you that's inside comes out. So it's like, it covers stuff like that. It also touches upon, like I was telling you, attaining godhood, having different godhood statuses. Oh, if you're a computer nerd, it covers a lot of like terminology when it comes to actually using programs for such, because it's like the world is the game, so the characters are also, it's like they're in a game, but then it turns out it's like, this is not a game, baby. It's the real world. This is how things are set up in order for you to progress, to get to those levels and make things happen the way they need to happen throughout this multiverse. Later on, it covers the multiverse stuff. So I'm trying not to spoil too much for you. The world is also like chess. It covers a lot of aspects that really makes me happier as I've gotten older, and I've learned. I didn't realize how much occult information I had dove into to be able to appreciate this, the experience of this little interactive comic, to the level that I couldn't when I was coming out. It makes me so excited. So I hope you guys really enjoy this. That's right, it's WiLL Versus. Check out Homestuck. And you know, quarantine, with some of this pandemic stuff, some of us are homestuck. So why don't you get stuck with the Homestuck? As we come together to defeat the true essence of disease in this world, known as ignorance. I want to say I love you. Thank you for viewing. I want to thank my ancestors. I want to thank my mother, my grandmother. I want to thank my residents. I want to thank my spirit team, always behind me, always got my back. And blessings. Be easy.